Elon Musk shocked trying to call as the black millionaire ignores the mysterious call. James Carter sat frozen in his glass-walled office, the city lights bleeding into the sleek surfaces like stars swallowed by steel. His phone vibrated, once, twice, on the polished desk, displaying a number he'd never seen. The unknown caller didn't seek his attention with rings or buzzes. It was the silence behind it that shook him. Elon Musk himself had tried reaching this number hours ago. Once, twice, endlessly, only to be met with ghost-like silence. James had built his empire on control, precision, predictability, but tonight, something slipped. That call, silent, persistent, ripped through his carefully constructed life like a rogue wave. Cold dread clenched his chest. He barely noticed the steady hum of the metropolis below. The streets pulsed with neon chaos. Yet inside, his world felt hollow and dangerous. Why would a black tech magnate, a man rumored to be as elusive as a shadow, vanish from every direct line, ignoring not just Elon, but a host of the world's richest men? And why now? The timing gnawed at something buried deep inside James, memories blistering with urgency. He stood, fists clenching, eyes flickering to the reflection on the glass. The face staring back seemed cracked, split by an invisible fault line. His wife's voice echoed faintly in the hallway, soft and warm, but the warning had already reached his heart. This wasn't just a missed call. It was a summons. James had tried dismissing the strange buzzing, blaming fatigue or a glitch. But then came the small things. The emails wiped clean from his inbox, faint footsteps in the empty corridors of his office, frigid air that rushed in without warning. The city's rhythm faltered, syncing with his own rising panic. And beneath it all was the secret he dared. Rumors James had long buried beneath layers of ambition and a spotless public image. But this mysterious figure wasn't just a myth or a ghost from whispered boardroom tales. He was real, and somehow their fates were tangled. James's hands trembled as he dialed a number. Someone in the underbelly of Silicon Alley, a whisperer cloaked in the same shadows he was now forced to navigate. Each new contact brought faces labeled by secrecy and self-interest. Friends? Maybe. Enemies? Probably. Desperation or survival? He couldn't tell yet. The calm he once lived in shattered piece by piece. He was losing grip on the lines between loyalty and ruthless ambition. Family dinners felt hollow. His daughter's laughter couldn't reach him. His wife's worried eyes stabbed sharper than any boardroom cutthroat. He hid the truth, yet it clawed outward. There was a storm coming, a collision of titans. Behind the glass walls, tensions warped the air like thunder before lightning. In the shadows, enemies sharpened knives made of data leaks and whispers. And somewhere in that darkness, a figure waited, watching, waiting to expose the past no one wanted unearthed. James knew the next moves would change everything. Trusts would shatter. The line between right and wrong would blur into chaos. And the truth he was chasing, it might tear his world apart. What secrets lie in the silent call? And what cost will James pay to protect what he loves most? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. James's heart beat louder, the crescendo of uncertainty drowning out all else. He faced a choice, and it felt like a sword dangling over his head. The air grew thick with his own trepidation as he punched the number on his phone. The underbelly contact would know something, anything, to untangle this web darkening around him. But that call, the one he had been, his mind raced, summoning the whispers of old rumors that once seemed harmless, jumping into the electric silence. Would the shadows divulge secrets he couldn't control? Would it reveal his own? The phone rang, once, twice, 3 times, each chime stretching the tension as he leaned forward. And then the call dropped. A jolt surged through him. A surge of anger mixed with confusion. Why was everything going wrong? He slammed his fist against the desk, feeling the sharpness of the moment. Then it happened. A loud crash echoed from the hallway, thundering through the glass walls. Heart in throat, James bolted from his chair. His heart raced as he flung open the door. What he saw left him frozen. His wife, Maya, stood in a heap on the floor. Her face was pale, eyes wide with shock. The heavy glass cabinet behind her lay shattered, its contents strewn like casualties of a battle. James rushed to her side, panic clawing at his insides. "Maya!" She blinked up at him, trembling. "James, someone was here." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Who? What happened?" he pressed, fear clawing at his throat. It was him," she stammered, pointing back into the office. There was no one there now, only the lingering hum of the city beyond. Everything shifted in that moment. The atmosphere thickened. The air felt charged with unspoken truths waiting to burst. The man James feared, had he been right there all along? The elusive black tech titan was suddenly real, breathing in the same space as his family. Memories twisted through James's mind. Stories of trust shattered, alliances made in darkness. As Maya slowly stood, the sound of her phone vibrated ominously on the floor. A crack running down the case, catching his eye. He recognized the number. It was the same as the one calling him before. With a quick glance at Maya, he picked it up, hands shaking as he answered. "Hello?" Silence hung for a moment. "James." A voice whispered, low and gravelly. "You've been digging too deep." It was then he realized this voice belonged not to the Titan, but a figure from his past. Someone long thought buried. "Who is this?" he croaked, dread creeping in like shadows stretching at dusk. "Someone who knows everything." His chest tightened as fear mingled with something colder. a sense of betrayal stirring within him. "What do you want?" "Your secrets, James. They cost, and I can name my price." The phone slipped from his hands and shattered, just like the glass. He turned to Maya. Her eyes held a mix of anger and fear, and something else. Something that made James's heart drop. She stepped back. End of scene. Trembling, a secret lying heavy between them. "James," she said, voice strained, "there's something you don't know about me." An avalanche of truths loomed just out of reach, ready to crush everything he thought he understood. What price had she paid in dealing with this unseen enemy? He felt cold fear settle in the pit of his stomach. Their lives had erupted into chaos, and in that whirlwind, he vowed he would find out what. As the city outside pulsed on, the world inside began to unravel. Shadows grew longer, secrets deeper. James realized the storm was just beginning. James's heart raced as he stared at the phone. The cold, metallic surface felt foreign under his palm. He had to know more. He had to make the call. Each dial tone echoed like a ticking clock in his head. The shadows in his office grew longer, creeping closer, wrapping around him with a sense of foreboding. "Come on. Pick up," he whispered. Then the line clicked, and a voice emerged, calm and smooth. "James, long time no talk." It sent shivers down his spine. The voice belonged to Marcus Ritters, the man who had been at the center of everything, both a friend and a ghost. "Why now?" James barely managed to choke out, worry flooding his senses. "Because it's time for the truth," Marcus replied, each word landing like a heavy stone. "You know I have something you want." For all the power he wielded, James felt stripped bare. "I can't." "Stop." There was an edge to Marcus's tone, sharp and commanding. "You can't hide from this. He's coming for you, and it's not just a call anymore. It's bigger than you think." James's pulse quickened. "Who? Those stories you thought were behind you are creeping back." "The past isn't done with you," Marcus warned, his voice dropping. "And you might just be the key to everything." The room grew darker, shadows stretching like fingers towards him. Panic clawed at his chest. "What do you mean?" But Marcus's voice had shifted. "I won't have your back if I don't have something to gain. You better be ready. The game's changed. You just don't know it yet." Before James could respond, a loud crash echoed through his office, drowning out their conversation. His heart skipped a beat, and he turned, breath hitching in his throat. The glass door shattered. A figure sprinted through the debris, a large silhouette, moving fast. James's instincts screamed to run, but he couldn't. He stood, rooted, eyes wide, fear gripping him. Was this the mysterious man? The tech titan who had eluded him? As the shadow neared, the reality crystallized. It was not an enemy, but a friend. His best friend, Caleb. Blood splattered on his shirt. Caleb dove behind a desk, breathless and terrified. "They're after you, man. You need to hide." "What? Who are they?" Questions tumbled out like a broken dam. "They know about you," Caleb gasped, panic and urgency mingling in his eyes. "It's bad. It's all bad." James's mind raced, swirling in chaos. The city felt like it was crumbling around him. "What did you find out?" "Your family," he whispered, glancing towards the shattered glass, fear etched on his features. "They're not safe. You need to leave, now." The weight of Caleb's words crashed down. James's body ached with dread. His family, his love, his reason. How could he protect them when he couldn't even protect himself? "Get up," Caleb urged, pulling him towards the hidden panel in the wall. Desperation thick in the air. "You have to trust me." "Aw!" And in that moment, everything fell apart. A loud bang erupted from the hallway. The door buckled under the weight of something coming in. Something violent, furious. James felt his heart tumble into his stomach. The truth hung in the air like a specter, twisting relationships, unraveling lives. His phone buzzed again, vibrating violently against the desk. It was the same number, Elon Musk's number, lighting up the darkness, a haunting reminder of everything at stake. "James!" Caleb shouted, pulling him closer. "We don't have time!" But the call wouldn't stop, throbbing with urgency. The sound merged with the chaos around them, an uncaring pulse that screamed for answers. What had he hidden? What lay buried beneath layers of ambition and success? Everything was rapidly collapsing, and James felt it all fading. The life he built, the family he loved. His chest tightened more and more as he realized there was no escaping the storm that was about to break. What secrets had remained hidden? And would he survive the reckoning that was coming for them all? James's heart raced as he stared at the phone. The cold, metallic surface felt foreign under his palm. He had to know more. He had to make the call. Each dial tone echoed like a ticking clock in his head. The shadows in his office grew longer, creeping closer, wrapping around him with a sense of foreboding. "Come on, pick up," he whispered. Then the line clicked and a voice emerged, calm and smooth. "James, long time no talk." It sent shivers down his spine. The voice belonged to Marcus Rivers, the man who had been at the center of everything, both a friend and a ghost. "Why now?" James barely managed to choke out, worry flooding his senses. "Because it's time for the truth," Marcus replied, each word landing like a heavy stone. "You know I have something you want." For all the power he wielded, James felt stripped bare. "I can't. Stop!" There was an edge to Marcus's tone, sharp and commanding. "You can't hide from this. He's coming for you. And it's not just a call anymore. It's bigger than you think." James's pulse quickened. "Who?" "Those stories you thought were behind you are creeping back. The past isn't done with you," Marcus warned, his voice dropping. "And you might just be the key to everything." The room grew darker, shadows stretching like fingers towards him. Panic clawed at his chest. "What do you mean?" But Marcus's voice had shifted. "I won't have your back if I don't have something to gain. You better be ready. The game's changed, you just don't know it yet." Before James could respond, a loud crash echoed through his office, drowning out their conversation. His heart skipped a beat, and he turned, breath hitching in his throat. The glass doors shattered. A figure sprinted through the debris, a large silhouette moving fast. James's instincts screamed to run, but he couldn't. He stood rooted, eyes wide, fear gripping him. Was this the mysterious man? The tech titan who had eluded him? As the shadow neared, the reality crystallized. It was not an enemy, but a friend. His best friend, Caleb, blood splattered on his shirt. Caleb dove behind a desk, breathless and terrified. "They're after you, man. You need to hide." "What? Who are they? ... Questions tumbled out like a broken dam. "They know about you!" Caleb gasped, panic and urgency mingling in his eyes. "It's bad. It's all bad." James's mind raced, swirling in chaos. "What did you find out?" "Your family," he whispered, glancing towards the shattered glass, fear etched on his features. "They're not safe. You need to leave. Now." The weight of Caleb's words crashed down. James's body ached with dread. His family, his love, his reason. How could he protect them when he couldn't even protect himself? "Get up!" Caleb urged, pulling him towards the hidden panel in the wall, desperation thick in the air. "You have to trust me." And in that moment, everything fell apart. A loud bang erupted from the hallway. The door buckled under the weight of something coming in. Something violent, furious. James felt his heart tumble into his stomach. The truth hung in the air like a specter, twisting relationships, unraveling lives. His phone buzzed again, vibrating violently against the desk. It was the same number, Elon Musk's number, lighting up the darkness, a haunting reminder of everything at stake. "James!" Caleb shouted, pulling him closer. "We don't have time." But the call wouldn't stop. Throbbing with urgency, the sound merged with the chaos around them, an uncaring pulse that screamed for answers. What had he hidden? What lay buried beneath layers of ambition and success? Suddenly, the glass door shattered into a million pieces. A figure looming beyond the wreckage. Crowned with shadows, a woman, fierce and unyielding, stepping through. It was Maya. "Stop!" she cried, eyes wild with a flash of determination. "I'm not going anywhere." "Get back!" James yelled, panic surging. "It's not safe!" But she ignored him, stomping forward with purpose. "You need to know the truth, James. There's something you don't understand." Now? Here? He couldn't believe this was happening. "Yes, I've been—" Before she could finish, a figure emerged behind her. A man, cloaked in darkness, with an electric stare that went right through James. It was the Titan, the shadow of his past, standing there in stark relief. The familiar feel of dread washed over him as the man spoke. "Maya, my dear," he said, a twisted smile spreading across his face. "It's time for you to choose." James felt the walls close in on him. Everything broke apart as he understood. Maya had secrets too. She hadn't just been caught in the crossfire, she was entangled in it. "What have you done?" His voice broke, the betrayal slicing through him. A grim smile flickered on Maya's lips. "I wasn't supposed to tell, James, but it's time the truth came out." Shattered glass crunched underfoot as the room spun. In that moment, the fates of all three twisted like wires. A storm roared within him, leaving one question burning in his mind. Who could he trust now? James's pulse raced as he hit the call button. Each tone echoed louder in his head, like a countdown, fueling his desperation. He couldn't ignore this. He needed answers. "Carter," the voice on the other end, replied, flat and gravelly. It belonged to Roger, a whisperer who thrived in the undercurrents of Silicon Alley. "You need something?" "Have you heard about the call?" The one from Elon? There was a brief silence, heavy and suffocating. Yeah, and? You ignoring it? James's heart pounded harder now. It feels wrong. I need to know what's going on. What happened to Logan? Logan? Roger chuckled darkly. You're swimming with sharks, man. I don't think it's just a call. Before James could respond, shadows flickered across the glass office. A figure emerged from the darkness. A familiar silhouette he never expected to see. His brother, Marcus. They hadn't spoken in years, not since the family disaster that shattered their bond. What are you doing here? James managed, caught off guard. I came to warn you, Marcus said, voice trembling. It's bigger than you think. Logan's not just vanished. There's something dangerous. James's mind raced. Logan was the man of rumors, the untouchable black tech titan tangled in ambitions far beyond normal reach. Why did Marcus know about him? They hadn't shared anything since that day. He's involved in something. Marcus paused, a quiver in his voice. Something that could bring you down too. I couldn't watch you go under. You have to listen. Why should I believe you? James snapped, memories of betrayal flashing in his mind. The harsh words between them, the unhealed wounds pushed deeper by time. A crash echoed from the hallway, jolting both men to attention. The office door burst open, and a team of men in dark suits surged in. Their eyes were cold, focused, and unyielding. One stepped forward, his voice smooth like ice. James Carter, you're coming with us. What's this about? Marcus barked, stepping protectively in front of James. Stand aside, the man ordered, eyes flickering with annoyance. You don't want to be part of this. Fear clawed at James's chest. What do you want? Aflique o reconocimiento pasó por el hombre, un detalle que le quesó como suena. Seguro del hombre, la faz asombreada, pero al mismo tiempo familiar. La última reunión de Logan, un acuerdo sucedido por la oscuridad. James struggled to process. Logan, dijo labios y la vergüenza. James' world tipped. No, no puede ser que tus secretos ya no tienen salida. Damos el paso. El man esté preparándose. En James falta el peso de su mirada, empezado con el juicio e intriga. Sucedió. Otro sonido trastorpeció. Un tozón hecho. La habitación de la oficina. El corazón se cayó. James miró con el peso de su mirada que dio la mantribulación verde capinte. The group turned, faces twisted with confusion. In that brief moment, everything changed. From the back of the room, an explosion shadowed the silence. Smoke filled the air, swirling in tendrils of chaos. A scream echoed. James staggered back, eyes wide as he grasped for clarity. Was it a warning? Or an attack? And who was left standing after it cleared? In the haze, everything was possible. Truths were shifting. Secrets were unraveling. And as the smoke curled around him, he felt his world, the carefully curated life he'd known, crumble into uncertainty. This was no longer just about a call. Now it was about survival, and the shadows were closing in. Who could he trust? And what had he buried that was coming back to haunt him? Chilling thoughts rushed in. A storm was brewing, and he was at the center of it. James's heart raced as he dialed the number. A flicker of hope mixed with dread. What kind of trouble was lurking in those shadows? He squeezed the phone, half expecting it to shatter beneath the weight of his anxiety. The line connected, and he listened to the ring, each echo wrapping tighter around his chest. Then, a voice, deep and rich, like aged whiskey. "James," it said, leaving no time for pleasantries. "We need to meet." The words sent a jolt through him. Who was this? The voice was familiar, yet he couldn't place it. Suddenly, there was a crackle behind the tone, a layer of urgency. "Not just you, it's bigger than that." He swallowed hard. "Who are you?" The voice sighed, tension hanging in the air. "You already know. I'm here to tell you." The call cut out, replaced by an ear-splitting silence. Fingers trembling, James glanced at the window, where city lights blinked like distant stars. A cold shiver ran down his spine. It wasn't just the mysterious call anymore. He needed answers, fast! And then the lights flickered. The room dimmed, casting shadows that danced erratically across the walls. James jumped, heart pounding like a drum. He scanned the room, breath hitching in his throat. What was happening? Suddenly, the sharp sound of shattering glass pierced the air. An explosion echoed through the office, and the windows fractured in a spiral of glittering shards. James ducked to the floor, covering his head, as he feared they might rain down on him. The noise settled, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. But it wasn't just the broken windows that left James reeling. His mind raced, piecing together snippets of raw memories like a jigsaw with missing pieces. Had someone found him? In the distance, he heard screams. But one voice stood out. His wife, Evelyn. A sudden sharp pang shot through him. He forced himself up, adrenaline surging as he ran toward the hallway. "Evelyn!" The word flew from his lips faster than his feet could carry him. She was standing there, pale as a ghost, staring wide-eyed down the corridor. Behind her, the lights flickered ominously. Shadows lurched around them. The once familiar office, now transformed into a landscape of dread. "James, we have to go!" she shouted, but her voice trembled, articulating a fear he had never seen before. "What are you talking about?" But before she could answer, a figure stepped from the dark. A tall silhouette, illuminated briefly by the flashing lights. James froze. The face was obscured, but there was something about the stance, the aura. His heart sank as recognition hit him. It was him. The tech titan who had slipped like smoke through the cracks of James's memories. The whispers of betrayal flooding back with each heartbeat. "James," the figure said, voice dripping with sardonic ease, "it seems you've lost your way." Panic clawed at James's throat. How did this man find him? What did he want? The weight of deception hung in the air, thick like fog. "Who are you?" James's voice cracked, but there was no backing down now. He was caught in a storm, and he had to weather it. But the Titan only chuckled, a sound that sent chills through the corridor. "You'll find out soon enough, and when you do, it might just shatter everything you thought you knew." In that moment, everything fractured. The edges of James's world blurred, and the truth behind the call morphed from puzzling to terrifying. Trust dissolved like a mist. revealing deeper shadows underneath. Now, James stood at the edge of a precipice. The ground beneath him had transformed, sending tremors through his soul. And all he could think was, what would it cost to protect his family? What secrets lurked in this man standing before him, ready to explode everything he held dear? The room pulsed with anticipation, shadows deepening around them as the unknown loomed larger than ever. He felt the weight of the world shift. Would he stand firm, or would he break? The answer loomed, echoing in the silence. James's heart pounded a frantic rhythm in his chest. He fought the urge to look over his shoulder. It felt like the shadows themselves were creeping closer, closing in on him with every unanswered call. The city remained oblivious. A sea of lights, riding the waves of ignorance while he stood on the precipice. The world he had built was fragile, and he sensed it. He pressed the number for the whisperer, breathing in deeply, trying to quell the storm inside him. Just as he was about to call, the lights in his office flickered, plunging the room into darkness. Panic surged. He felt his way to the window, eyes sweeping the skyline. But it wasn't the darkness outside that made his blood run cold. It was the revelation of the shadows in his own mind. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. A tiny spark of hope amid the uncertainty. The same unknown number flashed on the screen. "James, answer it!" whispered a voice from behind him. He spun around. It was his wife, Lena, standing at the entrance. Her face was pale, eyes wide with concern. "You're not alone in this. We need to talk now." "Not now, Lena. I have to handle this," he replied, frustration lacing his words. Ignoring him, she came closer, taking his hand. "Listen, it's about the caller. I don't think you understand." The phone vibrated again, drowning out her voice. The tension in the room thickened, like fog. Heart racing, he hit answer. The silence on the other end was deafening. Just as he was about to speak, a scream pierced the air from down the hall. A blood-curdling sound that sent icy fingers down his spine. "Stay here," he barked at Lena, charging towards the noise, pulsing fear fighting against his instinct to protect. He rounded the corner into the dim hallway, its walls whispering secrets, each flickering light amplifying his dread. What he saw was a nightmare. The office door was ajar, and the air buzzed with panic. James pushed through to find a scene he couldn't comprehend. There, sprawled on the floor, was a body. It was Caleb, his right-hand man. But this wasn't how he'd imagined seeing him again. Blood pooled around him, staining the cold floor crimson. Crouching down, James felt the world shift. "Caleb, what happened?" He searched for a pulse, frantically scanning the scene. But deep down, he knew it was too late. Then the room shifted, a dark tide of realization crashing over him. In Caleb's lifeless hand lay a small device, the prototype James had kept hidden, a piece of technology that could shape or destroy entire industries. This wasn't a simple accident. This was planned. Behind him, Lena's voice trembled. "James, we need to go. Now." But before he could respond, his phone buzzed again, the same number now burning a hole in his pocket. This time, he answered without hesitation, heart racing. "Who is this?" A familiar voice rolled out, calm and chilling. "I've been waiting for you to uncover the truth." The line cut off, leaving silence echoing through his bones. James's world flipped upside down. This was bigger than him. This was personal. He turned to Lena, desperation clawing at his throat. "How do you know about the call? What do you know?" Her eyes widened with fear and something else, a flicker of recognition. "James, I wasn't honest. There's so much you don't know." His heart stopped. In that moment, everything shifted. The foundation of his world began to crumble. The truth wasn't a target anymore. It was a weapon. As shadows lengthened and secrets loomed large, he realized the storm wasn't just coming. It was already here. What had Lena been hiding? And what would the truth cost them both? James felt the room tilt as Lena's words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. The flickering lights cast long shadows around them, and the horror of Caleb's lifeless body felt like a dark weight pressing down on his heart. "What do you mean?" he demanded, barely breathing as adrenaline surged through him. Lena's eyes darted nervously, searching for the right words. "You don't understand. There's a reason I was with them. The people you think you can trust." "What people?" Panic seeped into his voice. "Lena, I need you to be straight with me." She trembled, and he could see the fight in her eyes. "I should have told you, but I was scared." Her words tumbled out fast, each one like a pebble rolling down a hill. "I've been trying to protect you, and Caleb, from what Logan is doing." "Logan?" The name jolted through him like electricidad. What does he have to do with any of this? But before Lena could reply, a noise erupted behind them, a low rumble, then a crack. The walls seemed to breathe, and James turned, just in time to see the door slam open. A dark figure loomed in the doorway, his silhouette blocking the faint light, obscured more than just the doorway. He seemed to block out hope. "I see you've been busy," the figure spoke, voice dripping with sarcasm. "Who the hell are you?" James shouted, adrenaline pushing him forward, rage boiling just beneath the surface. "Just someone who knows the truth," the man said, stepping closer. As he broke into the light, James's breath caught in his throat. It couldn't be. Marcus? His brother's expression was twisted with a smile that felt more like a sneer. "What are you doing here?" "I was hoping to save you from an even bigger mistake," Marcus replied, his tone eerily calm, as if everything were just a game to him. "But it's too late for that now." "Enough!" James yelled, turning back to Lena. "Is this true? You've been working with him?" The betrayal burned deep, smoke billowing through his veins. "No!" Lena protested, shaking her head fiercely. But Marcus cut in, ignoring her. "You have no idea what's coming. The game is bigger than you can even imagine." "No! Stop talking in riddles!" James shouted, feeling the ground shift beneath him. "Just tell me the truth!" And then it happened. The world in front of him exploded into chaos. A deafening bang ripped through the air, the faint smell of gunpowder filtering past him. Just as the voice of his brother echoed in disbelief, James saw the figure behind Marcus emerge. A SWAT team in tactical gear, moving silently like shadows, infiltrating the office like they owned it. "Get down!" Caleb's voice rang out, but it was too late. In that blink of an eye, shots rang out, bullets flying, screams mingling with the sound of chaos. James ducked, instinct kicking in as he grabbed for Lena. The air filled with shouts and confusion. "James!" Her voice was frantic against the smothering noise. "We have to go!" But in that moment of mad rush, something dramatic hit him. The figure who had just burst through, the one he thought was Marcus, flashed something in the light. A badge. It rippled with authority. "James Carter, you're under arrest on suspicion of conspiracy." The words felt like a knife turning in his gut. He looked at Marcus, who seemed to be grinning at the chaos he'd orchestrated. "Trust me?" Marcus mocked, and his voice dripped with malice. "You've been playing your part well, but the game is rigged." James's heart dropped, and the walls around him crumbled. What had he gotten caught up in? What was Lena hiding? As chaos unfolded, the question weighed heavily in his mind. Could he trust anyone, especially himself? The monsters hiding in shadows were more real than he ever dared to believe. And as bullets flew, he realized the ties that once bound him could ignite a firestorm he might never escape. James felt the room tilt as Lena's words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. The flickering lights cast long shadows around them, and the horror of Caleb's lifeless body felt like a dark weight pressing down on his heart. "What do you mean?" he demanded, barely breathing as adrenaline surged through him. Lena's eyes darted nervously, searching for the right words. "You don't understand. There's a reason I was with them. The people you think you can trust." "What people?" Panic seeped into his voice. "Lena, I need you to be straight with me." Ignoring him, she came closer, taking his hand. "Listen, it's about the caller. I don't think you understand." The phone vibrated again, drowning out her voice. The tension in the room thickened like fog. Heart racing, he hit answer. The silence weighed heavily, pressing against his chest. He felt something shift in the air around him. "James," a voice whispered. The gravelly tone sent shivers down his spine. "The truth is closer than you think." "Who is this?" His voice was strained, caught between fear and confusion. "Look behind you," the voice hissed. He spun around, dread pooling in the pit of his stomach. Before he could react, a loud crack echoed through the office. A gunshot ripped through the air. Everything froze. A figure burst in from the shadows, wide-eyed and frantic. A police officer. "Get down!" he shouted, gun drawn, scanning the room. The SWAT team was close behind. Adrenaline and confusion slamming into them all. Lena gasped, stumbling back, pressing against the wall. Chaos erupted as officers poured in, shouting orders, voices raised in panic, drowning out the world outside. "Freeze! Hands up!" they shouted, disorienting flashes of red and blue lighting up the room. "James, what's happening?" Lena cried, fear dripping from her voice. "Just do what they say!" Marco's voice barely reached him over the chaos. "I'm not the enemy!" James yelled, hands raised, confusion painted across his face. "What are you doing? We're not armed!" The officer's eyes narrowed. "You're under investigation. Move for your weapon, and we'll shoot!" Just as James opened his mouth, everything shifted again. Marcus emerged from the shadows, stepping deliberately into the light. "You've all been played," he said calmly, like this was all part of the plan. "And now you're in way over your head." "Marcus!" James's heart sank, realization dawning too late. "What do you know? Are you behind this?" "It's more complicated than you understand. It always has been." James's heart raced. Ah, what do you mean? Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the building. The sound was deafening, chaos erupting around them as the walls shook. The officers shouted in confusion, ducking instinctively. "Get back! Everyone out!" James felt a wave of heat, an impossible swell pushing him. A dark figure swept through the cloud of smoke, and as the dust settled, everything inside him shattered. It was Logan. He emerged from the chaos like a wraith, his expression dark and fierce. "I'm here to settle debts, every last one." The SWAT team froze, their guns lowered as shock coursed through the room. James felt an ice-cold grip on his heart. This was the enemy? The shadows merged into an even darker truth he'd never seen coming. "Marcus, what have you done?" James whispered, disbelief etching his features. "Let's just say, James, alliances shift in the blink of an eye." Then, in a move that would change everything, Marcus turned, aiming his gun squarely at Lena. "No!" James lunged forward, but it was too late. The room erupted in screaming chaos. Just as Marcus pulled the trigger, everything seemed to slow. Time stretched painfully. James's voice echoed, "Lena!" But the shot rang out, a sound that pierced the stilting darkness like a knife. And then, silence! Amid the growing dust, James stared in disbelief as shockwaves of truth collided around him. The tangled web of lies, betrayal, and pain enfolded him. Each truth peeled back more layers of an intricate game, and all he could think was, who could he trust? As smoke billowed from the chaos, a new game began, one that could tear apart everything he cared for. And in the depths of his fear, he realized he was no longer just a player. He was a pawn in a much larger scheme. What had he unleashed? And what would be left once the dust settled? Lena's scream shattered the air, clawing at James's heart. He lunged for her, a desperate instinct fueling his body. But the moment unfurled in a slow-motion nightmare. The gunshot rang out as if time had broken. He had seen the flash before he felt the heat, instinctively shielding Lena. But Marcus's betrayal was cut deep, a knife twisting into the fabric of his trust. "No!" James shouted, eyes wide with horror. It felt like the world was collapsing around them, the walls closing in, darkness rising like a tide. Then chaos erupted. Officers flooded the room, voices blaring orders, shouts mingling with cries of defeat. James felt disoriented. The shock rattled through him like an earthquake. "Get back!" one of the officers yelled, guns drawn, eyes blazing with adrenaline. "Out! Now!" another shouted, urgency spiking, as a haze from the explosion began to envelop the room. James turned to Lena, frantic to see her safe, but found her staring, shock written across her face. She trembled. Everything was unraveling before his eyes. Suddenly, a glimmer of hope broke through the chaos. Behind Logan, who loomed like a dark specter, was Caleb, alive and staggering to his feet, blood staining his shirt. "How?" James gasped, voice cracking as relief swept through him. "This isn't over, James," Caleb yelled, voice strained but resolute. "We need to make a move, now!" But before they could act, Logan raised a hand, halting the chaos. "You still don't understand," he said, deceptively calm. "You're all part of the game now." You think you can escape? James braced himself, feeling adrenaline wash over him. We don't have to play your game. Watch closely, Logan replied, and with a quick gesture, he nodded to Marcus. The atmosphere thickened as Marcus, his brother-turned-traitor, grinned wickedly. You're in deeper than you think, he taunted, voice laced with venom. Each of you carries your secrets. Let's see who comes out alive. James's heart raced as looming shadows of betrayal crawled toward him. His thoughts whirled. What secrets? What dark past had they all been hiding? Another shot rang out, this one not from the chaos, but from an swiftly closing figure, charting a path through the darkness of the office. The bullet whizzed by, striking the wall next to Logan. Now, move! Shouted a new voice that pierced through the confusion. It was Maya, emerging from the smoke, enacting a desperate plan from the other side. Get them out! She pushed forward, urgency beneath her fear, eyes darting, her words sharp like glass. Go! Now! In the chaos, urgency lit a fire inside James. He grabbed Lena's hand, pulling her with him, moving through the swirling chaos. Caleb followed close behind, adrenaline spiking as they maneuvered past fallen shadows, moving toward the exit with a singular goal: escape. As the group dashed through the office's debris-littered path, James's heart pounded wildly. Every breath sent shockwaves through him. What would they leave behind? What price would they pay? They'd burst into the hallway, the chaos behind them echoing like an impending storm. Lights flickered and sirens wailed, and they all sprinted toward the exit. In that moment of frantic escape, it didn't matter what secrets lingered. It didn't matter who had turned against whom. All that mattered was they were together, against a world that felt unrecognizable. Outside, the air hit James like a cold splash of water. They stumbled into the open, breathing the rain-soaked atmosphere. But behind them, chaos still carried on, filled with sirens and voices lost in a dance of confusion. They were free, but not safe. What awaited them beyond this moment? All we can do is move forward, Caleb said, voice hoarse but determined. Together. Caught in chaos, they stood together, aware that every decision from this point would send ripples through their lives. James looked into Lena's eyes. Fear and resolve mixed there, a reflection of their shared struggle. As James wrapped his arms around her and glanced toward Caleb and Maya, one thought remained. The shadows wouldn't. They had survived, but at what cost? The truth was still out there, fracture lines already forming beneath their feet. And so they readied for the storm, knowing they'd have to face it together. What would it reveal? But now we need you, yes, you. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories that'll shake your world. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep us alive. Flood that comment section with your reactions and theories about this ending. What did you think? And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this explosive conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even a second longer. Damn!